This is your daily sugar limit, 6 teaspoons. But this is the 22 teaspoons the average adult eats in a day, which adds up to an insane amount of sugar every single week, 154 teaspoons, a little over half a kilo. If you're wondering why your energy's gone, this is the reason. The average person eats about 4 times the daily sugar limit, causing massive spikes and crashes that are running your life behind the scenes. I got tired of this, so I cut out sugar, and the result completely surprised me. Here is exactly how I did it and what happened to my mood, my skin, my hormone balance, and my energy levels. I didn't realize how much sugar I was eating until I stopped. And I don't mean I stopped dessert only. I mean coffee, cooking, the afternoon sweets. Sugar wasn't a treat. It was almost automatic for me to consume. About a month ago, my husband and I decided to do a Primal 60 challenge he created for his program. I removed added and refined sugar completely from our diets. I kept fruit, I replaced sugar in my coffee with honey, and I built my meals around protein to keep my blood sugar steady. I expected this to be extremely hard. What I didn't expect was how quickly my body adapted. I'm a nurse and a scientist, and when my body responded that fast, I wanted to understand why. This wasn't about weight loss. It wasn't about eating clean, and it definitely wasn't about discipline. I wanted to understand because my energy felt so unpredictable. By mid-afternoon, I was dragging, not exhausted enough to stop, just enough to feel off. The same thing happened to my focus, my mood, even my skin. Nothing was dramatically wrong, but nothing felt fully stable either. So instead of pushing harder, I removed one variable. I wanted to know what my body would feel like without constant glucose spike. No willpower experiment, just information. And once sugar was gone, the signal became very clear. Before I go any further, I want to be clear about what no sugar mean in Primal 60 challenge. I didn't stop eating carbs. I didn't stop eating fruits, and I didn't eat less food. What I removed was added and refined sugar completely from our diet. No sugar in cooking, no sugar in baking, no sugar hiding in sauces or dressing or marinades. I kept eating fruits, honey replaced sugar in my coffee, and the biggest shift was how I built my meals. Every meal included more protein because protein, along with fiber and fat, slows how glucose enters your bloodstream and reduces spikes and craving. Instead of eating in a way that spiked my blood sugar and crashed it hours later, I started eating in a way that kept things steady. I didn't feel any restriction. It was more about removing constant stimulation and giving my body a calmer signal to work with. And once that signal changed, the changes showed up fast. What surprised me most wasn't missing sugar. I was realizing how invisible it had been. Coffee in the morning, a little sweetness while cooking, something to push through the afternoon. None of it felt too much. It just felt normal. I consider myself a healthy person. I cook mostly at home. I pay attention to what I eat. And still, once sugar was gone, I could see how often I had been using it as a quick fix for energy, stress, and mood swings, especially in the afternoon when focus dropped, but the day wasn't over. It wasn't about how much sugar I was eating. It was how often my body was getting small hits throughout the day. Those small repeated hits kept my blood sugar moving up and down in the background, even when I wasn't aware of it. Once sugar was removed, that background noise disappeared. The first thing that changed wasn't my weight or my appetite. It was my energy. And I didn't have more energy. I had steadier energy. The dips disappeared. The afternoon crash stopped happening. I wasn't reaching for something sweet just to push through. The absence of urgency was life-changing. My body wasn't constantly asking to fix something. It wasn't asking for more sugar anymore. And that's when cravings started to make sense. Most of the time, they're a biological response to instability. Here's what actually happening. When you eat added or refined sugar, glucose enters your bloodstream very quickly. Blood sugar rises, insulin responds, and a few hours later, glucose drops again. That drop is what your brain reacts to. When blood sugar falls, the brain processes that as a problem that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. That's when craving shows up. Your body's now trying to restore balance. It's a survival mechanism. So when someone says, I have no willpower in the afternoon, what's often happening is a physiological crash from a spike earlier in the day. Once my meals were built to keep blood sugar steady with protein, fiber, and fat, that cycle stopped. The spike flattened, the crashes softened, and without those drops, craving lost their urgency. I didn't have to fight them, they just got quieter. That's when I realized this. Craving are just information. And when the signal stabilizes, the message changes. For me, this didn't work as a gradual reduction. Cutting back just kept sugar mentally present. What worked was removing it completely from our diet and replacing it with food that supported steadier blood sugar. If you're curious what actually made this doable without constant craving, these are the 3 things that helped me be successful at this the most. The first thing was replacement, not removal. I kept eating fruits. I used honey to replace sugar. I just changed the source. The second shift was removing sugar from meals. That cut out more sugar than skipping treats ever could. And the third piece was protein. Protein slows how glucose enters the bloodstream. Once my body was properly fueled, I wasn't thinking about food at all. Hunger cues became clearer, craving lost their grip. It was physiology doing what it's designed to do. And once sugar was gone, something else became obvious. Sugar hadn't been just a fuel for me. It was comfort food. It showed up when I was tired, when I was stressed, when I was trying to power through instead of slowing down. So removing it didn't create a discomfort. It actually revealed it. Sometimes I needed food. Sometimes I needed rest. Sometimes I needed a pause. And without sugar blurring the signal, I could finally respond appropriately. As the days went on, the changes extended beyond energy. My skin felt calmer, less reactive, less inflamed. Mentally, things were quieter, clearer. I was more focused. Cravings didn't disappear completely, but they lost urgency. They stopped feeling like demands and started feeling like preferences. And that felt freeing. This experience didn't convince me that sugar is bad or that no one should ever eat it again. What it showed me is how powerful stability is. When blood sugar is steady, energy is steadier. Your mood is steadier, your cravings are quieter, and it becomes much easier to hear what your body is actually asking for. If there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's this. Your body is always responding to signals you give it. When the signals calm down, the noise does too. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from removing what's overstimulating. And once the noise quiets down, it becomes much easier to hear what your body has been trying to tell you all along. If this kind of conversation is helpful, don't forget to subscribe. It helps support the channel and lets me keep making videos like this. Watch this one next. See you in the next one.